All right, we're
And
live.
we are live. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. We are back. And that's right. We are back with another episode of Kicking It. And that's right. Guess who's back here live with us? That's right, Mr. Isaiah Leong. Isaiah, welcome back, my man. How are you doing?
Wow, I'm doing great, guys. It's great to see all of you guys once again, man. I haven't done this show in like 6 to 7 months, so it's been a long, long time. But I'm excited, man. I've been itching for a while to get this show on the road. I know I texted Adam a bunch of times like, "Hey, can we do the show? Can we do the show? Can we do the show?" And finally, we finally get to do the show tonight, so I'm ecstatic. I'm ready to go, man. And I'm like I was telling you guys off air. I did a lot of crazy stuff while I was away, and it's good to see you guys once again.
All right. And then, of course, welcome in John. How are you doing tonight?
We're good, man. Trying to watch the XFL a little bit, and hopefully Brock's ego doesn't get in the way. Hopefully it actually does work out. But I mean, we'll just see what happens. And the free agency is coming up, and I swear to Al Gore's internet, if your dumbass Mike Brown doesn't address the offensive line, I'm going to kick your butt. Nope, good to be here, and I'm curious to see what we got for the script.
All right. Mr. Mess Around Dave, how are you doing tonight?
That's right. We got the man that's responsible for bringing this guy down here back. I'm good. I'm good. Good to see Isaiah's face on here again. Can't wait to see what stupid things he says tonight.
As a favor and a thank you for bringing me back, how about you trade the number one pick over to my Niners? How about that?
Nah, not happening.
So I don't want to get into details right now because I don't want to get into sports stuff right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass that. I was gonna make a comment, but I'll wait.
Oh,
I'll
like
wait.
Trey Lance this year?
Yeah.
Ooh,
All
sorry.
right. No, you're good. So our first topic tonight, and John, you might be really familiar with this. You might have done this a few times, Isaiah. You may have. I personally have not, and I don't know if Mess Around Dave has before or not. But we're going to be talking about door dashing, and there's a reason. So, John, let me ask you: have you done DoorDash before? Not like personally, but you've ordered from DoorDash. You're on mute.
I'm actually have an order that's actually going to be here in about 20 minutes from Dave's Hot Chicken.
So-
I've done both, so yeah.
So let me ask you, how was your experiences with DoorDash?
Comparing DoorDash to Uber Eats is like comparing, let's say, root beer to Sprite Zero. There's not a comparison. Sprite Zero it's there. It's Uber Eats. It's like your ex is disappointing. I mean, I've had no issues with DoorDash, but also my people, if you're gonna order, do tip, because when I first moved here, doing DoorDash, I do not recommend it. It is awful, but I have ordered from them plenty of times. And when I did last time with Dave's Hot Chicken, I did the hottest one on the menu, and it's fine at first, Ace. It's like when you think you won your argument with your wife or your girlfriend, but then a few minutes later you realize the sting and the pain, and then you act like you're in the bathroom singing like you're in a mariachi band.
Wait, so you've actually won an argument?
No, I didn't say I won. No, I'm talking about like
Okay,
the pain. I lost. It was so much pain. You thought you had it. You're good to go. And then a few minutes later, you feel the wrath the anger from her, and you feel the hot from the chicken. And it's like the 360 ring to death. I do not recommend it.
That makes sense, because that's about what I was about to ask you, is be like, well, how does that feel to actually win one? Because I don't know. But
no, that's dreaming. We'd be dreaming there, bro. The multiverse is not real.
But all right, Isaiah, I'm sure you have done DoorDash multiple times. How was your experience with DoorDash? You're on mute. There you go.
It was awful. It was god awful. I did it actually a whole bunch of times now that I'm working nights for Alaska Airlines. And so I needed to DoorDash because when I'm working nights, I'm working 7 p.m. to like 1 a.m. and all the concession stands upstairs are closed. So I need to eat something. So that's why I need to DoorDash some food. So this was on Saturday. This was this past Saturday. And Adam, when you talked about this topic, I was like kind of thinking to myself, does this guy secretly hack into my account to read my text messages and stuff? Because I was ranting about this sort of thing. So what happened was, and this wasn't DoorDash, this was actually Uber Eats. And let me just say, I'm never using Uber Eats again because it's absolutely rubbish and the prices there are exorbitantly high. But what happened was, at work, they gave us a bunch of, like, we had a lot of food there. We had a party going on. But the only thing that was missing was a drink. They had water. That's it. And who's going to drink water at a party? So I decided, I ain't drinking water at a party. So I chomped down on all the enchiladas, quesadillas, empanadas there that we had. And I was feeling thirsty. And all the soda machines were broken inside the airport, or they were either broken or they were shut down for the night. So what I did was I needed a drink. So I go on my phone, go to the Uber Eats app, and I Uber Eats from Jack in the Box a breakfast sandwich meal that has a breakfast sandwich and hash browns and a little 6 liter, or not a 6 liter, it's like a little bottle of orange juice. And I just did it because I just wanted the orange juice. I could care less about the sandwich. I could care less about the hash browns. And I paid $17.85 for that. I paid $17.85, and I got the meal, right? And then my guy, who's one of the janitors at the airport, he was like, "Hey, nice meal, man." I was like, "Yeah, you want it? I don't care about the sandwich or the hash brown. I just want the drink. Like, you can have the meal. I don't care about the meal because I already ate and I'm full as heck." So I gave him the entire meal, and I just kept that little bottle of orange juice. So basically, I paid $17 for a little bottle of orange juice because I needed a drink. But hey, when you need something, man, you gotta get it. And also, this was yesterday night, and I was ranting about this as well. I paid no joke. I was same situation. I was thirsty, so I go out there. I needed to order something. I go to McDonald's, the McDonald's app that has McDelivery on it, and I ordered a large Fanta orange, and I got it. That drink was $3.39, its original price, but with delivery fees and all that, it came out to $15. But hey, I was thirsty, so I took it.
First of all, you cannot blame Uber Eats. That is your fault for not rating something before you order it. You cannot blame that on the prices, which can be a little bit high depending on where you eat. You blame that on Uber Eats. You're the one that didn't read it before you ordered it. Because think about it, an orange juice with delivery fee is not going to be about $20.
I can't figure out for the life of me why the hell you would not just look around for something to drink instead of spending $17 frickin' to waste a perfectly good sandwich and just drink the dang orange juice. Okay, so I know you're talking about like prices on Uber Eats and stuff, but come on, man, it's got to be a little bit smarter than that. I mean,
I was full though. That's why I didn't eat the sandwich. I was gonna toss the sandwich anyways, and my friend didn't want it.
Well, you're talking to the guy that spent $20-$30 on a pair of Brock Purdy socks, so.
Right? No, yeah, exactly. You
can't blame Uber Eats for your decision. That's like blaming another place for, you charged my meal too high. Well, you got the extra stuff. Like, what did you expect? Avocado's extra, salsa's extra. Like, that's like getting mad at Chipotle for adding extra whatever they put in there.
So some of these topics we have is Shardol saying, "Hi, gentlemen, what's up?" Callan saying, "Isaiah, no." Nate saying, "I used Alaska Airlines to fly to Colorado and back. I'm not exactly sure what. I'm not exactly. It's Nate. No knock, man. I'm just not exactly sure why that was dropped in there. I'm
he
so
probably
confused.
said that because I didn't mention he works for Alaska Airlines.
Oh, that's probably it. At first, I couldn't figure out. I'm like, why is he saying that he used Alaska Airlines to fly? I was like, I don't get it. But and then Brandon saying, Isaiah, you spent $10 too much. So,
Yeah.
I do agree with that. But Messeron, have you? I don't think you've ever used DoorDash, right?
I'd never have. My neighbors use it quite a bit, but I can't bring myself to do it. I'm just worried that like they're gonna put their hands on it or touch or eat some of my fries before he gets there or something.
Dude,
No,
I'm right
if
there
it's
with
a
you.
$2 order, I'm canceling that and eating that because if you do a $2 or $3 order, which has happened to me, and you don't tip, you're not getting your food.
Dude, I've seen too many videos to where like people go, "Oh, you're not tipping, fine," and then they take a picture of it and then just steal your food and just take off with it.
See,
And
here's the
so
thing,
I'm
right?
like, dude,
if you're gonna commit a crime, here's a bright idea. Don't post it to TikTok or Instagram. Just do it, delete your account, and move on. Because you're gonna get deactivated anyways. Two, this is why, like, as a DoorDash, especially where I'm at, it wasn't the best. We got a bad rap because who doesn't tip well? Old ladies or young people in college, unless they're at Jack in the Box at 2 or 3 in the morning.
but that's the reason why I brought this up anyways, was because I'm like, this has been like a trending thing for a while to where people talk about like DoorDash and experiences with DoorDashes, and then I see all these videos and I'm like, bro, I wouldn't risk it. I'm not going to risk doing a DoorDash with all the bad experiences that are going on. You know, so in mess around, I'm with you too. Like, I don't know if the person in the car that has my food is like clean and they're gonna sit there and like fondle my food or whatever, and
Here-
like you have no idea.
The
That's
only
exactly
person-
what I wouldn't do because you just don't know what they're doing to your food till it gets her. Like, I'm like,
No,
you know how Taco Bell during the pandemic they'd put a sticker on the bag to make sure it's sealed,
Yeah,
and you wouldn't know if it's broken. That's what I want if I had DoorDash. Make sure it's sealed and I know it hasn't been tampered with.
Which I get. I think a lot of times for me, when I first did security, I did overnights, and that was kind of the only option because some spots you're at, there isn't necessarily a microwave. I get it. Uber Eats, I've had to get a refund 2 or 3 times. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, I had before I let you get back. I had an order for Buffalo Wild Wings. I think no, it was other wing place. It was about a $3 order, so I thought, okay, it's gonna be a tip. I get there. There's no tip, and it was less than a $3 order. I stared that lady down, like if looks could kill, I committed 4th-degree murder. You ordered less than $3 when gas is almost about to get high. I'm like, lady, but I get it. There's a lot of bad drivers out there.
nope, I get it. James,
Yeah.
have you done DoorDash before? And if you have, how often do you use it?
I used to be really bad. And it was just funny because I was going through all the McDonald's bags I have, and I think I had like 6 that were sent to my door throughout like 3 or 4 years, and that wasn't even all of them, or 3 years, I should say. But dude, that one right there is exactly. And what's funny, sometimes they didn't have the seals like Mess Around Dave was mentioning. That was kind of weird, but I never found anything missing. There was at one time I had a Burger King order and it never came, and that was funny. I found that very hilarious after not eating for like 13 hours. But I used it a lot, especially in 2020, like Dave mentioned with the pandemic. And then when I was real lazy or things weren't open as much, I would use it. So I gotta say, it feels good having all these people back in there. What's that guy's name again to my right?
right, it's there again. So
Is this a dream?
Big B, I would definitely ask this question to Isaiah, but we would be here all night. Like legitimately, and his question was basically, have Isaiah name something that he overpaid for? Well,
Oh man,
Brock Purdy
Oh.
socks.
$26. $26 for 2 socks. No joke.
See,
$26.
I wasn't
Okay,
there when I
well-
said 30.
all
right
right.
there.
So let me say, the only time I ever overpaid for socks, and it was my fault to a certain degree. I didn't really have a choice, and what I mean by that is I went out of town for work, and when I get to where I was going, I got there and I realized I was like, crap, I forgot to pack socks. So I needed more socks. They had one big store in town. Nobody else sold socks except for the only store in town that sold it, and they basically had a monopoly there because they were the only clothing store there, and it was Fred Meyer. So I get there and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go check out the socks. So I get there, and as I look, I'm like, this is 3 pairs of socks for $25. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I'm like, well, I don't really have an option because I need socks, and home is 3 hours away. I'm not driving 3 hours home to go get dang socks. So I was like, I guess I don't really have an option. So I got stuck paying $25 for 3 pairs. But in reality, I guess to a certain degree, that was kind of my fault, but not my fault that the prices were so high at the one store. Isaiah just decided to do it just because they were there.
They had Brock Purdy's face on it, and it was
Like,
just
Oh my
one. It was
goodness.
a bunch of mini
Isaiah was like
Purdy's
a-
all over it.
If Isaiah was an Apple fanboy, he would be the guy that buy the Apple cloth like
My
$25
offspring.
on the Apple website.
Right. No, I get it. I definitely get it. But it's Isaiah, so you never know the things that Isaiah is going to do. So Nate says he paid $12 for 6 pairs of socks, but that's not.
That's not that crazy though. It's not like you're
Yeah,
getting
that's.
like, Gucci socks or anything. So
I know. $12 for 6 pairs of socks is not that bad. That's actually a decent price.
I'm trying to think the most I ever spent on some socks. I think one pair was probably like 15, but I always find these deals like with socks like with characters. Like I have King of the Hill socks, and I only got them for like $2 at a Burlington, and I was just like, hell yeah, I gotta take advantage of that because nobody else wants them.
I'll be honest, I have a bad habit of like socks and shirts, letting them go down to like holes everywhere until I actually buy
Yeah.
new clothes or socks or anything. I had one. You would have thought that like I don't know how a sock got a giant fat hole. I just kept wearing them until I don't know. I just thought, but that's like, oh, I wait like 3 or 4 years to buy them. But oh, a new phone in 2 years? Yeah, no problem. New controller, no problem. But socks, give it about 5 or 6 years. Makes
I'm just
sense.
picturing I'm picturing this. This is something Isaiah would do. Okay. Isaiah's like, you know what? I need one sock. I just need one sock. And he goes in there and he's like, this pair of socks is $30. Okay, I'll buy it. And he buys it and takes the other sock and throws it away and puts on the one sock. And everyone's like, what are you doing? He's like, I just needed one. So he paid $30 for one sock.
I could imagine that.
You know, I could also imagine that as well because I mean, you're talking to the guy who paid $17 for a little bottle of orange juice, and I
Oh.
needed it because I was so thirsty. So, yeah,
Where was that again, Isaiah?
this was it was both of the times that I paid for those lavish drinks were at the airport. One was a McDonald's large Fanta orange, and then the other one, which is utterly pathetic because how could a $3 drink come out to $15 with delivery
So-
fees? It's like when
'Cause
did
you pro-
when did buying a drink become so expensive?
No employee discount, Isaiah?
No, James, I don't think you were on here when he first talked about this. Okay.
No.
You were late coming on. So Isaiah wanted orange juice, right? So just because he wanted orange juice, he orders a sandwich and something else, spends $17 and something by using Uber Eats, spends $17 and something, keeps the orange juice, and then gives the sandwich and whatever else away to somebody else because he just wanted the orange juice.
The hash browns, yeah, I gave the sandwich and the hash browns
Because
to my
here's the
friend.
thing, James. He blamed Uber Eats for the prices without reading that when he thought he was just buying the orange juice, he was buying the sandwich and the hash browns and the OJ. He thought he was just buying the OJ. I mean, that just killed his appetite right there.
Sounds like you have money to burn.
Isaiah, Big B wants to tell you that he has a magic rock that he can sell you for $50. It's magic, man.
Consider
It's magic. It's painted and everything. It's magic.
It has 2 eyes on it too. It's a fortune.
And it looks exactly like My Little Pony.
Oh, speaking of like those little rocks with
And
like
its very
those
fruit
big
is big and
eyes and
beautiful.
like the googly eyes and the little whatever that the yarn string smile that little kids make. So back when I was a kid, we were doing some fundraiser thingy, and my parents gave me $5 to spend. There was like food, there was arts and crafts, coloring books, whatever. So what I did was I paid $3 for a little rock with googly eyes and a little that yarn string smile that kids put on there because I thought it looked cute. And guess what? You can't put a price on cuteness. You just cannot put a price.
Did Isaiah just say you can't put a price on cuteness?
Yeah, you can't put a price on cuteness. You can't put a price on it. If it was like, if it was good, it was good looking product. And it was $15, I'd still buy it because you can't put a price on uniqueness.
So Isaiah, I have a Hormel can of chili here that I paid $1.89 for. The can might look good, so I'll sell it to you for $20. I mean, if you can't put a price on that.
How about a lighter for like $20?
Well, James, I don't smoke though, so yeah, I don't smoke.
I didn't ask that.
Yeah, he didn't ask if you smoke, man. He didn't say that.
What would I use a lighter for, though?
So Jason's saying he has an air guitar he can sell you for $20.
I like that.
So there you go. So moving to our next our next topic. It's kind of another funny one too. So I was watching this video and this couple pulls over on the side of the road, and the husband's like, "Hey, let me check up on this guy and see what he wants." And the wife's like, "Oh, he probably needs some gas." And he's like, "It's a Tesla. He doesn't need gas. It's a Tesla." And she was like, No. I bet you he needs gas. And the husband's like, "It's a Tesla. Okay, it is a Tesla. When you have a Tesla, you don't use gas in a Tesla. It's electric." And so the guy like walks up, and the guy's like, "Hey, do you need help?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." And the husband's like, "Well, what do you need?" And the guy's like, "Can you help me get gas?" The husband's like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, yeah, I need gas. And the husband's like, "I'm really confused right now because Teslas, they don't use gas. It's you charge them up." And the guy's like, "Yeah, that's why I bought a Tesla, to save money on gas." So after going through this whole spiel, what ends up happening is the guy opens up his trunk, and the guy has a gas-powered generator in the back of his car that he takes with him to charge his Tesla on road trips. And I was like, so you bought a Tesla to save money on gas, yet you're using a gas-powered generator to charge your Tesla. I was like, what? What? So, this might be an Isaiah move. Like, honestly, this might be an Isaiah move. Isaiah might be like, well, I'm saving money on, not having to put gas in the car, but, I use this gas-powered generator to charge my Tesla. So, Isaiah, tell me, is this something that you would do? Do you think this was a good idea for the guy to use a gas-powered generator?
Well, first of all, I want to start and applaud the guy for being prepared. I mean, let's face it. This guy is preparing for any type of situation. Like, let's say the Tesla were to break down. Let's say there wasn't any enough electricity in the house. Let's say he was stuck.
Did you say in the house? Did you just say in the house?
I mean, in the world. Because you obviously would not park your Tesla in the house. Or let's say he was driving, right? And his car ran out of electricity and power in the middle of nowhere. Because, I mean, we've all been there before.
They have apps and thing on the Tesla to tell you the nearest one, so that shouldn't be an issue.
You're stuck in the middle of nowhere. So I applaud the guy. He's being prepared, and he's preparing for all situations. You don't want to be stuck in the middle of a freeway or a highway in the middle of a farm land. So I applaud the guy. I would pretty much do the same thing. It's all about preparation. It's all about, being prepared for any type of situations. It's honestly why whenever I go to work, I bring like four pairs of clothes in my backpack just to prepare.
Do you crack your pants every 30 minutes? What are you doing to have 4 pairs of clothes?
Well, because I'm prepared for all types of situations. It's like, what if I accidentally, what if someone spills a cup of orange juice and then I don't see it and then I slip on it? Well, there's another change that needs to happen. So it's all about, getting prepared. It's all about getting ready for whatever situation comes your way. Because, hey, if that guy with that gas-powered generator, there's no situation that will be able to attack him and he won't be ready. So I applaud him. I think that it's
Isaiah. I've worked with children. I work in armed security. At no point in time have I ever thought, let's bring 4 pairs of clothes to work. I worked with babies. I've worked with toddlers who crap themselves more than they put food in their mouth sometimes. And I've never thought 4 pairs of clothes. What are you doing at your job, or who are you working with that is that messy?
Well, so first off here, I want to say that you said this guy was prepared. Well, the guy technically wasn't prepared because he had to find somebody to get him gas. So he technically wasn't prepared. Yeah, he had a gas-powered generator, but that's still not going to really help you if you don't have gas. Like you have to at least take gas with you. So
that is true. That's the one thing he lacked is not bringing the gas. Like if you have a gas-powered generator in your Tesla, why would you not bring gas? If I was him, my trunk of my car would have the generator and it would also be littered with 50 cans of gas all lined up in the back.
Why would you buy a Tesla if you're just going to use gas? Just buy a gasoline vehicle.
That's exactly what
a minimum of $30,000+ just to use gas. That's not being prepared.
Mm-hmm. James, what's your thoughts?
Seems like Isaiah has a lot of money to burn. I mean, and then other things to burn. Shout out that I brought the match. That was unintended, but yeah. They say oil and water. Oil and water doesn't match. Well, Teslas and gas does not match.
Teslas and gas, right? Yeah, but do you think this guy was being creative, or do you just think that this guy was lacking the knowledge?
I think he was lacking the knowledge.
At most community colleges, you have pumps. At malls, you have pumps. At other places of businesses, you have pumps. And they have a thing on the Tesla that tells you the nearest one. So if you still can't do that, I don't know how you have a house, much less a family.
But what I think is funny though too is as I'm watching the video, it gets to the very end, and the guy luckily had
video.
Yeah, so the guy had gas, so the guy gave it to him. he got his generator going. He charged it, and the guy's like, "Hey man, you can keep the gas. It's fine." And the guy's like, "So where are you going?" The guy's like, "I'm gonna hit up the gas station." and thus it's like, why don't you just take your car to go and charge it, man? He's like, "I'm going to
Not
buy
being
gas."
prepared.
I'm like, really? You have a Tesla, so you don't have to buy gas, and now you're having to buy gas because you have a gas powered generator.
He's definitely
No.
lacking the knowledge.
That's
So
making
he
James
got
Reddy's
the
head explode.
he got the gas pumped in, and then he went to a gas station.
No, he didn't. The guy that stopped for him had a gas can in his trunk with gas. So the guy was nice enough to give the guy his gas can with gas, and then when the guy's like, "Okay, what are you doing?" The guy's like, "Yeah, after this, I'm gonna go hit a gas station up so I can fill up my generator so I can charge my car." And I'm like, and the guy's like, "Why don't you just charge it up at the gas station?"
Mm.
I don't know, man.
Now that last situation that makes it utterly stupid.
It took you that long to figure that out.
pretty much.
That whole situation could have been avoided. You're not supposed to have a gas-powered generator to help charge your Tesla. It's supposed to prevent you from having to pay for gas.
I thought Teslas when they get charged. I don't have a Tesla, but I thought
Well,
Teslas when they get charged, right? Don't they take a long time to get charged?
It depends. There's certain kind of chargers I think you can get that charge faster, but obviously there's always it depends.
I think the average time was like an hour 45.
But think about it, if you buy that, that's however much it is versus
Right?
you paying $50 in gas over time. No,
So,
if you're a dumbass like this guy, well then it don't matter.
so we have a few comments here. So Nate is saying, a side note, I got rid of one of my 2 pairs of jeans after having it for a year. Okay. All right, and then Jason was saying, Isaiah, if your wife's mother-in-law was hot, would you hit on her?
Hold on. Nate said something about I got rid of one of my 2 pairs of jeans after only having it for a year. First off, Nate, take all your jeans that you have, buddy, and throw it into the fire and burn them. No, jeans are not the way. You know what is the way? Sweatpants. Sweatpants are cool.
You can't wear sweatpants at work.
Hey, I wear sweatpants anywhere. I've been wearing sweatpants since I was a 6th grader. And you know how Nate said,
That's not how that works.
1 or 2
I
pairs
can't
of
go to my
jeans.
job and they, hey, can I wear sweatpants today? I know I'm not scared. No, they're gonna laugh in my face and tell me to go home.
Also, Nate said he threw away one of his pants after having it for a year. I have sweatpants and jeans that I've worn since I was a 6th grader, like 7-8 years ago, and they still fit me. But so yeah, I don't understand that decision, Nate. But what was Jason's question?
No, I got you, Nate. I just read it. I got you now. My brother asked and said, Isaiah, if your wife's mother-in-law was hot, would you hit on her?
The fact that you have to wait to decide is really defying of your answer.
I've seen videos like that. I mean, what?
No, we're not talking about Pornhub, okay?
Well, no.
You're like mess around, Dave.
Not because I would be violating the oaths of our marriage or the vows that we have.
And the whole family.
Okay, understand this. Listen to this very carefully.
Yeah.
very, very carefully. A lot of people don't understand this until you really hear it. If your wife's mother-in-law wants
Oh
to
my
talk,
god! Oh, I got it.
yes, you got it
Whoa!
now. If your wife's mother-in-law.
Boy,
So Isaiah,
No.
you're
Hell no.
okay. You got it now.
Waited-
You got
you
it now.
waited to answer that.
You got it now. Okay.
I got
You
it now.
waited
Oh
to
my
answer
god.
that. So you're saying you're gonna hit on your mom?
Oh god.
see Adam, when I came on, I took this town OPM.
Isaiah, that's enough
Nice.
TikTok, dude.
I ain't the
I already
same.
know this is gonna be clipped and like sent so many places now. Oh god. Oh,
I was trying to help you, Isaiah, but
I jumped to that conclusion way too fast.
Yeah, you probably should have just like really listened and been like, "Oh wait, what's he mean? Oh, I get it now. Your wife's mother."
But the
Ace was
fact
doing
is,
what they
either
do in
way-
school.
The fact is, either way, you still took a while to answer. So that's really concerning.
Okay. Well, so yeah. So we talked about the whole Tesla thing, which I thought was interesting. I just had to share that story because I thought it was actually rather funny, to say the least. But the next story is kind of more on a little bit of a serious note. I don't know if you saw this on the news, but like now it kind of concerns me nowadays when I see little story clips like this. And what I'm talking about is, so there was a kid that got his Nintendo Switch taken away in class, and because he had his Nintendo Switch, so he got it taken away in class, and he got so mad that the assistant to the teacher, he chased her out of the classroom, knocked her down, and like knocked her out, and just and I'm like, dude, like how? Really?
You-
It's a freaking Nintendo Switch,
Need that
man.
old school discipline. Not this. Hey, honey, I need. No, that kid. Those parents. No, that's.
Right, it's crazy. They did give an update, and they're like, "Oh, she's fine," and I'm like, okay, but still, there's got to be some form of discipline there. Like, there has to be.
But here's the thing: in schools now, this is why also, and probably why I left, but also why other teachers across the United States are leaving, is because a lot of times these kids, just like the kid that shot his teacher in kindergarten, first grade, a lot of these kids, all they did is maybe a couple of days off, and the teacher won't get anything, and then they would have to move on like it's normal. And that's what being a teacher is today. And unfortunately, I doubt there'll be discipline because the admin cares more about test scores, making the school look good. There isn't as much punishment. And then when you have stuff like this happen, they're more afraid of what the parents are going to say. The parents run the schools.
Yeah, no, I get it, and that's what I feel like. There's not. I feel like right now there's not enough discipline either way. Like, you can't really discipline your child enough at home. You can't discipline them enough, like in school. You can't, like, they can only do so much in the schools, but when you're at home, you can only do so much also, or else they go, you went too far. You know, it's like okay. So James, if you were to start out in a situation to try and fix this problem that we have with generations now and like the lack of respect, how would you start?
It all starts from home. It all starts with the parents or guardians, whomever's there. And obviously that's a problem. Obviously everybody's, in their own thing with electronics and, all that stuff. And that really is a problem because families aren't together. They're not eating together. They're not doing things together. So that's a big problem because it all starts at home. Then once you get to the school part, well, there's no more paddling Peggy Hills out there. There's no more Hunnam Church women that have the paddles, but at a Catholic school, is it nuns? I forgot. Anyway, you don't have that discipline where you're scared of something if you do something wrong, and that's an issue nowadays. Mind that. It's just the problem with schools and with the generations now. You can't spank anymore. You can't give like a little, slap, like, come on, don't do that. So it all starts from home. And the fact that he brought the Nintendo Switch with him to school, that'd be a big no-no for me if I had one. I was too poor to have one growing up, or anything like that, I should say. But yeah, it all starts from home. But you, like Ace mentioned, you can't do much. All you can do is try to tell them the right path, but they're going to think that they're grown enough, that they're big enough, that they can do whatever they want. And as John said, they get all the leeway because the schools are trained to be soft to discipline anyone like they used to do. My dad would tell me about the stories how he would get, spanked at school from the nuns and all that happened a long time ago. So, yeah, it's just a different, like you said, different generation. And it's just a big problem in our society.
It is. It is a huge, it's a big problem. It really is. And so it's a problem that I feel needs to be, looked at. It needs to be fixed. But the problem is, like, you do any type of discipline now, and basically your child can go to school and be like, oh, my parents abused me. The next thing you know, you look up and somebody's at your door and they're like, oh, we want to talk to you. And it's like, because I disciplined my child? I don't understand. And like, what I think is the problem nowadays is that people look at a situation, basically say, you have to raise your child this way. If you don't raise your child this way, it's the wrong way. And it's like, well, who's to say that raising your child one way is the right way and not raising them that way is the wrong way? Like, I want to know where all that came from. Because who's to say that I can raise my child one way? That's what I want to know. We all have our own ways of raising our kids. And I'm not saying that my way is right. I'm not saying whoever else has kids. I'm not saying that their way's right. I'm just saying we all have our own ways of raising our kids. But the one thing that I've instilled in my kids the most is something that I call respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I've told them, I was like, hey, no matter what, you're going to show respect. We're not going to be rude to people. That's not how we do it. You're very, very respectful. And my kids understand that. And so they like to joke around, but they're very respectful kids. And they don't steal or nothing like that. And so that's what I'm trying to get them to understand. And they're understanding it a lot. So that's good. John, what's your thoughts?
First of all, it's very simple. If you're a father and decide to have relations with a woman and not stay around for the child, that's where the beginning starts. Because when I worked with kids in schools or ridiculous, one of the biggest things why so many kids came up because they didn't have a dad, and the dad that they did have didn't freaking show up. If you can pull in, you better show up and stay around. Because if you're not going to have that father to instill the discipline, then crap, who's going to do it? Who else is going to do it? And we've seen this with like artists have talked about it in their songs. They've had people mentor them that probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. And discipline one way may not work for another. I think a lot of parents nowadays may be more concerned about being their friend versus being their parent and teaching them about respect.
Yeah.
I think being respect, it doesn't mean saying always what you mean, like in a job, but you're being kind and courteous versus just saying what comes to mind. And a lot of times with these kids, first of all, when I was a kid and I brought my parents told me, do not bring your PSP to school. What did I do? I brought my PSP to school, and it was not a pretty sight. But then I understood. But as a father, you got to be able to earn that respect. You can't just say, I'm not talking about you. I don't know, but like fathers out there that are talking about respect. But if you're not treating their mother right, if you're not actually there, then
Exactly.
you can't be talking about respect. But fathers have to step up because a lot of times people think, again, a woman can only do so much that a father figure, a male figure has to be there. And I've seen it way too many times, especially in preschool, kindergarten, all that. Those developmental stages, as you know, because you're one of the parents here on the show, is those first 4 to 5 years are gravely important. And when that father's not there, they don't have those simple developmental skills. So when you go into school, and especially now after not having those pivotal years of 2020 and 2021, you're having these kids are being behind. You can't fail kids. I worked at a charter school as a substitute teacher. I saw that paper. There is nothing you could do to fail. A 60 is a B. A D is like way, way low. It would be almost impossible to fail the kids now. And so you're creating this environment of entitlement, and you don't have that father at home with this one. It all starts again. The mothers. I mean, I'm not saying there aren't mothers out there that don't show up, but more nowadays, I feel it to a certain extent. Fathers are leaving because they care more about a quick one night stand and then not thinking about the end results. And if fathers would actually show up instead of because daycare workers and teachers can only do so much. I mean, I imagine you have kids in school, and like they can only do so much. They only make like 25, 30,000 a year. I make more than what teachers do, but there's only so much that they can do. And if parents can't show up and actually take responsibility for what their kids are doing, because essentially now they're treating kids or the teachers like babysitters. And when you have avid micromanaging them and parents complain, you're creating this cycle over and over. But fathers have to show up. If they don't, what do you think is going to happen?
Absolutely. So, Isaiah, I know you're part of the younger generation. So, and that's no knock on you or whatever. I'm just saying you're part of this younger generation. So, what does it mean to you when you see kind of some of the kids and this younger generation and the way that they're doing things?
Well, first of all, I may be part of the younger generation, but I feel like that I am part of the OG generation because heck, you're talking to a guy that still reads the newspapers instead of using reading stuff online. But jokes aside, I watched the video, Adam, that you're talking about, and I was extremely appalled by it, and I think that kid needs to not only I think that kid needs to go to juvie for the rest of his childhood because I watched that video and that kid was throwing some freaking like Tommy Fury, Floyd Mayweather vicious type punches. I mean that it wasn't like your regular like kid punches. It was vicious and it was scary and it was I mean that teacher I'm shocked that she's alive today because that's how vicious some of those punches were. I mean it was straight up awful what was going on. And I do agree with you guys. I think that this younger generation has become soft. It's so soft now. It is so entitled and kids care more about their technologies and they care about education or stuff outside of the technology world. And it's just sad, like James mentioned how like families don't even eat together or even like they don't even even when they eat together, it's just kids just on their phone while their parents are talking, or at the restaurants if a family's eating together. Heck, you might see the mom, the dad, and the 3 kids all on their phone. It's like, where's the family time? There is none anymore. And it's just, really, really sad to see, especially like, when you're on a family hike or whatever, and you just see, kids just on their phone, or they're playing a game on their iPad or whatever, and it's just, crazy to see. I did not grow up with that. I can guarantee you that. Right now, my mom or dad would be like, nope, you're not bringing your phone or your iPad to wherever we're going, Heck, I didn't even have a phone until I graduated high school, and that's not even a joke. I did not have a phone until I graduated high school.
Fiery Arizona butthole? What?
Yeah, no joke. I did not have a cell phone until I graduated high school. I did not have a cell phone until I graduated high school. And looking back, I think my parents made a great decision, because I think that if I did have a phone, I mean, I flunked a lot of classes back in high school and junior high school without it. And I guarantee you, I probably would have gotten straight Fs with it. So, yeah, I'm glad that they did not give me a phone until after high school, so I would be super distracted. But I don't know what you can do, Adam. It just seems like that anything you do, the public's just going to come out and be like, oh, you can't do this because, it's like they're going to act all soft about it. So it's like, I don't know what you can do. You can't spank kids anymore. You can't. You can't really take their stuff away, or else kids are gonna, dare to call child services. Like, it's a crazy society that we live in.
It is, and I'm telling you, I don't really see. I would say I don't really see much of an end in sight that it's going to be changing anytime soon. Now, you can disagree with that or agree. It's kind of how you feel, but I'm only seeing it as, it's like, I feel like it's slowly getting worse over time. I do.
Well, now you have, and I don't want to knock some of the fathers that I've seen on Instagram, but I've seen some videos of parents, playing with their little babies, and guess what? They don't even play with them anymore. It's like, oh, you're bored? I'll just set an iPad in front of you, and you can watch whatever you want to watch. And like, first of all, how damaging is that to the little baby's eyes to be looking at that iPad for so damn long? And secondly, what is an iPad gonna teach a child a valuable lesson? Like, you can't learn valuable lessons.
Steve.
Blues Clues.
I get it. You can learn from the show, but I just feel like as a baby, learning from your parents is more valuable than learning from watching the iPad.
Well, to a certain extent, maybe, but I think, like, I'm not a parent, but if once in a while, if their parent needs a break, or if they're working at home, or they're trying to do something, they'll put on Bluey, Miss Rachel, or Steve, or Josh nowadays for Blue's Clues, because they need a break. Because sometimes, I'm not a parent, but some days you just don't want it. You're just freaking exhausted, and you just need maybe just a couple hours for, to do what you probably really wanted to do since you had a kid.
No, I definitely get it. But moving away from this topic, we can go on to our final topic of the night. And this one was kind of interesting. This is one of those topics that when I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is weird. So there are some restaurants now that are actually going to what's called a virtual cashier. And they were showing a video of it, and it's when you walk in, they have like a phone or a tablet that's sitting right there at the register of the restaurant when you walk in, and a person's face is on there, and the guy's like FaceTiming you, and the guy's like, okay, what can I get for you? And you're like, I want this, this, and this, and the guy's like, okay, and he's taking your order, and the guy's like, okay, is that cash or card? And there's legitimately nobody at the register. It's just the guy is doing it on a virtual. It's called a virtual cashier. So like you don't even have to be there anymore. You're just in a different spot, and you can do it from. It's crazy. It's a virtual cashier. So. Huh?
That's weird. Like,
What if the power goes down? What
what?
if the internet goes down?
How do you get your change back if you're paying with
How do
cash?
you pay for your food or get your food?
That's what I want to know too. I don't know. Like it was something. It was something that I saw, and the guy was confused. He like walked in. The guy's like, "I've never seen this before." And so the guy's like, "You paying with cash or card?" And the guy's like, "Well, I'm paying with card." And the guy's like, "Okay, so it's $14.45 whenever you're ready to pay, and the cooks and everything in the back will be making it." And you're like, "What in the hell?" You're like, "What is this? A virtual cashier?"
No.
James, what's your thoughts?
Do you imagine, and Isaiah's guilty of this, having your camera on at the wrong time? But imagine being at work.
When everything is not supposed to be on camera.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So that's my issue with all this virtual stuff. But goes to show you technology and robots are taking over. I saw a video, I think a couple of months ago, of restaurants like handling stuff in the back with fast food. They're just making everything, not really backing it up. I didn't see that, but I just saw like it was just cooking stuff. And I think we're so close to being replaced. Like all these jobs that people don't want to have. And instead, you have these kiosks, like McDonald's. That's really replacing people in a way, counter-wise. I don't know. I know I didn't like it before, but now I kind of like ordering on my phone and ordering like at the kiosk. But I think that'd be kind of awkward because they're not there with you too. If I need a question or something, or I need something that's happening in real life, like right with me, I can't get you. I can't get you to come here. So I don't like that.
So here's the thing. Do the cameras have to be on?
Yeah, so when I saw it, the camera was actually on. Like the camera was on. I don't know where the dude was. Like you have no idea where the hell he was. But the camera was on and you could see the guy. You just have no idea where he is. Like the dude could have had like a green screen for all I know. I have no idea. But I think the reason why they're doing some of this stuff is because of lack of staff. Like wherever you go anywhere, it's shortage of staff everywhere. And so people are thinking, okay, maybe to help employees, get rest and things like that, maybe they can just do it from their house in a virtual way or whatever. So who knows? But really quick, we do have some comments that I want to get to. So Jason's saying, okay, so let me understand this. You mean that a non-binary birth person and another non-binary birth person has to raise their non-binary children, that there has to be respect to authority figure, okay? Jason's also saying older generation, but you don't know who Bowser is. And Tim Hendricks saying kids today think they are entitled. Brandon saying that's a great point. Christy saying the world has gone insane. Tim saying we will eventually turn into the people from WALL-E.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
WALL-E.
What is
WALL-E? And then Jason saying this is what happens when the entitled generation wants a 17 hour to work a minimum skilled job. It's true. You get the virtual cashiers. So Isaiah, I can't wait to hear what you think about what your thoughts on this are.
Well, I agree with Tim. this world is slowly but surely turning into a Wall-E world. It is going to be robots eliminating humans. That's how it's going to be. And that restaurant, I don't think is the first restaurant to do that. I know McDonald's is doing some similar type of a thing. But I work for Alaska Airlines, and I was sitting in a meeting last week, and they introduced a new plan that they want to implement the whole thing by 2025, where all of our counters are going to just be machines only, and all of our agents are just going to be up at the gate tending to the airplane and helping people board flights. I mean, they released a new plan where you're going to be required now that you cannot check in at the airport. You have to check in online, at home, and also print your boarding pass, or not print your boarding pass, as they want to conserve paper, and they want everything to be online. So now all the boarding passes are going to be online. Everybody that flies Alaska Airlines now has to download the Alaska Airlines app just to get your boarding pass, and you have to check in there. And then also we have a new bag drop machine where you scan your boarding pass on the side of the machine, and then the machine recognizes you, and then it recognizes your flight, and then you put your bag on the belt of the machine, and then it just weighs it, and then it just sends it like a robot. It just sends it off to the carousel, and then down the carousel to the plane. So we have that, and then I think 2 weeks from now, we're also going to have our kiosks turned into like bag tag machines, where people get to, if you need to check in a bag, you can, put it on the computer, I need to check in 1 bag or 2 bags, or how many bags you need to check in, and then you can pay for your bag there, and then you can print the tag, and then you just basically tag it yourself, go to the bag drop machine. So it's not just happening in restaurants. I feel like it's happening everywhere, where our world is basically just turning into this robot machine. And I would be really interested to see how it ends up doing, because the thing is, like, especially with the Alaska plan, it's like, okay, you want to do all that and you want to replace all the agents, and basically half of the staff will be gone. But what if, like, one day there's a power outage at the airport? What if one day, like, one of the machines, because we've had, and at work, no joke, I am the lead lobby agent. That's what we call our little machines. Like, I'm the expert when it comes to the machines that we have there, the kiosks that we have there. So anytime, like, people need help with those machines, they always turn to me. But I'm, like, really interested to see, like, what happens. Like, let's say the machine has a malfunction, or let's say the machine has a glitch, or let's say it doesn't work, or let's say there's a power outage. Like, what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to get your food? How are you going to, like, check in for your flight? Like, what if you're checking in, and then all of a sudden the machine has a glitch, and then instead of you going to San Diego, the flight checks you in for another flight to Miami? It's like, what if there's those issues? Like, an issue that you need an agent, or you need a human being to be there. So I'd be really interested to see how this ends up going, but I don't know, man. It's kind of like, it's risky, but it's a high reward at the same time.
No, I get what you're saying. And so Tim is saying, he's saying, and that's scary. Like, and what he means is, like, Isaiah's saying he's like the lead on a certain machine, and they're like, that's scary. And Jason's saying, Isaiah in charge, help us all. And then Christy is saying, those what ifs need to be addressed. So
this reminds me, before we knew we were going to have the baseball season last year, the year before, and I remember people talking about how the MLB app basically crashed because on the servers everyone's doing it all at once. And if that's the case, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, are you gonna have people? So now you're not even eliminating a lot of jobs, because now you have to create customer service jobs. Who are you gonna call when you let those employees go? You're gonna have to hire customer service people or train people. Do what?
Oh, You said, who are you going to call? So I said, Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Uh,
Well, when they're not there, they're taking a nap. Who else are you gonna call? Like that's the part where you only want them to save you money, but then you add extra money to the company, having to add customer service people, and it's just like it's the same that's gonna keep happening, keep happening, keep happening. And at one point, what are you gonna do? Like I said, just like with the what we were talking about earlier, things all shut down for like let's say you have weather issues and it's down like a winter storm. It's down for 5 or 6 hours. And the people that have customer service, now, are they going to work at home? Or are you going to have to create an office that's added money back into the company? So, man, I don't know.
No, I get it. All right, mess around. We'll get your thoughts, and then we'll go ahead and we will wrap this up.
about the virtual thing, I think it's just dumb.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do if you're paying with cash? Like, who gives you your change? I don't get it. Just, I agree with J-Mac. It's just that, people want $70 an hour to flip burgers, so why pay them when we can get a robot to do it?
Exactly right. It'll be cheap because we won't have to pay him anything. But yeah, you know what? I'm certainly glad that this show's back. I was very, very excited for it. It was a great first episode to have back again. We're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up with our final thoughts. Isaiah, go ahead and give us your final thoughts for the evening.
Before I give my final thoughts, I just wanted to add one more point to the robots thing. I want to give a shout out to Alaska Airlines though for giving that bag drop machine, because now I don't have to lift and hulk all those heavy luggages and always come back to my house and be like, Mom, Dad, I'm like a zombie. I can't even use both of my arms. My arms are like this. So shout out to you guys. I don't want to lift bags ever again. Heck, I don't want to lift anything ever again. But yeah, it was a great show. Shout out to Mess Around Dave for getting me back here, man. I appreciate you, man. Great to see you, Ace, James, and John once again. It was a great first show with a lot of topics. And the funny thing is, the first show that we had, I didn't even have any Isaiah stupid moments. So I felt like it was a great show.
Are you sure about that?
Yes,
yeah,
you did.
I'm so sure
Yes,
about
you
that.
did.
It was a great first
You
show.
showed
The
Thank
mom
you
thing.
for knocking Jake Paul out and making the world normal again.
All right, James, any final thoughts for you?
And it was good to see everybody again together like this. Isaiah, I think you had a couple of moments tonight reminiscent of other shows. But that draws the people in, I think. Stupidity draws people in, I guess.
I guess.
See you all soon.
All right. John, final thoughts for you.
Yeah, Isaiah did have a moment. I'm curious though. It was a good show. I didn't think Isaiah would be attracted to his mom, but I mean, that's a whole other thing. I guess that he would hit on his wife's mother-in-law, but I guess we all live in some really, really boring times. But no, it was a good show, and yeah, I'm just happy to do a show again, and Trevor and I are going to do a show here on Friday. Just trying to get back into it because, dude, it was bad. Like, I was so busy with work during the holidays. I hadn't done a podcast in like a month, and that drove me crazy.
Well, Isaiah, they are calling you out. My brother, Tim, Christy, they're all calling you out and saying you can't forget the wife's mother-in-law moment. So,
Ace,
you
trying
did.
to forget it.
We
I'm
have to
trying
ask the
forget it.
question: was Isaiah breastfed or no?
That's
Isaiah,
another.
answer the question.
I plead the fifth.
Isaiah, who was that?
I plead the fifth. That's actually the first smartest thing he said in a while. Was
Right.
saying, "I plead the fifth." So, good job for not saying something crazy. Okay, mess around, Dave. Final thoughts.
So I'm not gonna lie, they posed that question in the group chat about would you sleep with this if this is your wife's mother-in-law, would you hit it? I read the question wrong and I said in a heartbeat. And then I read it and Adam's like, are you sure about that? And then I went back and read it, I'm like, oh my god. I totally read it wrong.
Right? Yes. So yeah, so he definitely wasn't. Yeah, so he definitely wasn't the only one to do it. But we do want to thank everybody for coming back to watch Kicking It. It was another great show. A lot of great topics. We'll be back next week with some more great topics. Can't wait to bring you some really interesting ones.
Forget the top hour, we got 4 bros coming up, so look out for that.
I'm hunting some topics down. So with that, we definitely want to thank everybody for watching, and we will see you next week, next Monday, for another episode of Kicking It. Good night, y'all.
Later.